morning everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today Rose and I have headed out in a different direction. The last few road trip videos have been very biased towards the north of this island, so we thought this time we'd head a little south. So our very first stop off location for this trip is a place called Uffington. Uffington is famous for its prehistoric figure, or prehistoric hillside figure I should say, which is a giant horse figure that's actually carved out by deep trenches into the ground that are filled with crushed white chalk. I believe it dates back somewhere between 1380 and 550 BC. So yeah, slap bang in the middle, somewhere between the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. I'm on one of the biggest hills around at the moment. There isn't much behind me, at least anyway, that's hilly, but boy, you can get some views though, right? You can see for miles and miles. Anyway, the views aren't amazing, but what we really want to see is the White Horse of Uffington. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the White Horse of Uffington. Not that you can actually see too much at ground level here, but I'm actually stood next to what they call a pillow mound. Some of the earliest evidence of human activity in the Uffington area comes in the form of burials. Excavations in the mid-19th century found a central chamber and a large urn, which sadly has since been lost. This was probably a burial mound of between 4,000 and 5,000 years ago. This prehistoric mound was important to Roman Britons. Around AD 300 they also buried their dead there. Distinctively, many of these bodies were decapitated after death. This is not uncommon local practice at this period and suggested the community was not yet Christian. Before this, in the early Bronze Age though, about 4,000 years ago, people constructed round barrows on the ground above the site of the White Horse. These ancient mounds were recognised by Anglo-Saxon newcomers, who in the 6th century AD reused them to bury their dead, thus claiming the rights to the land. Good morning everybody, and this morning you join us in the village of Lacock, or Lacock, L-A-C-O-C-K, Lacock I'm going to call it anyway. For any of you that might be fans of Harry Potter or Downton Abbey, you may see certain parts of the village that seems very familiar. It's a very popular location for filming in. In fact, most of the village itself still looks the same as it did 200 years ago. But before we get to the village, we're actually going to look at Lacock Abbey. So Ella, who was one of the most powerful women in the Middle Ages, actually founded the abbey in 1232, and it started its life as a nunnery. It's got a long and colourful history. I'll see you soon, guys. So, I hope you can make this out in the light, but the tiles on display here are actually medieval. They were made locally and they're originally part of the sacristy floor. Now that's what I call a kitchen, hey? Don't think we'll fit that in the van. So the Abbey is also a manor house, or became a manor house. So we're now entering the house itself.
Pulpit room.
Trumpet room?
Pulpit.
Oh, pulpit room. Is that trumpet room? So, that painting there is of Matilda Talbot, who was actually the lady that gave this to the National Trust. I believe in 1944 and died. Do you know when Matilda passed away? Matilda Talbot.
1950s, I think.
1950s. Yeah, I thought so. I think it was near the end of 1950s,
Yeah.
late 1950s.
Yeah.
There's some serious headgear.
Every little girl's dream.
Yeah. That's quite a horse, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. It's quite a horse too. So this wallpaper apparently was hand printed using screens and stuff. Apparently they're decorated about every 150 years.
Hand prints, oh, like,
With wallpaper.
yeah.
So this is about 150 years. Around 140 years old, but this jasmine one's older. Between 1715 and 1836.
So apparently, Sherrington, who was the gentleman that purchased the Abbey, was a bit of a scallywag, they say. It's a slight understatement. He actually worked for the mint, and what he used to do was take shavings off the gold coins, collected basically shavings of gold, worth a lot of money. And when he got caught, he was actually locked up in the Tower of London. But about 4 years later, the current king at the time had died, and his son had taken over the throne, and yeah, basically Sherrington turned around and said, it wasn't me, it was my mate, and actually got out. And then from the dining room into this room, check this out, guys. What is this?
So this is the Gothic hall. So there would have been a Tudor hall before that, but John Ivory Talbot didn't like it, so he had that demolished, and he had this built in around 1750.
Wow.
The shields on the ceiling are probably from families that he invited to the opening of this space.
Oh.
The statues are all terracotta and would have been made in the grounds.
Wow, okay.
And it was a room to impress.
It's yeah, it does that, doesn't it? You walk in and it just, I mean, the level of detail in the statues. Right, everybody, so that is the end of our little trip around Lacock Abbey. Really, really pretty and stunning, and the workmanship, you know, as always with these historical buildings, the fact that it's there from the 1200s is just stunning, and a lot of rich history behind it, and how it was taken over and become a manor house. Yeah, just stunning. I have to admit, at the moment, Sizer Castle is still my favourite of recent trips, but Rose and I recently became members of the National Trust, so these are all free to visit anyway. So yeah, why not? Anyway, guys, time to visit Lacock Village, and as I said before, any of you that are fans of Harry Potter or Downton Abbey, you may spot a few familiar sights. So far, since leaving Lacock Abbey, it's been a very picturesque and scenic drive. I'll leave some details in the description below of the route that we're taking. But the reason we went the way we went is because of the bit of the route that we're about to drive down now. So if you find yourself in the area of the city of Wells in England, which actually is England's smallest city, by the way, but yeah, if you find yourself in the vicinity of Wells, about 3.5 miles outside of the city of Wells is a road called the B3135, and that takes you to Cheddar and Cheddar Gorge. It's supposed to be a beautiful drive with about 22 switchbacks, I believe. Yeah, and an exceptionally nice route to drive, about a 15 mile stretch, I believe. So we've come out this way just to have a look at this route and see if it's any good for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the B3135 from Wells to Cheddar Gorge. See you soon, guys.
Feet up on the dash and the calling open road. Road trip classics on the radio. With your hand tied in mine, there's no such thing as time. Now we can go anywhere you wanna go. Ooh, there's no place we can't go. Ooh, my home is when I'm alone with you. With you. Sunlight fades away and you fall into my arms. This life is not the same when we're apart. If you follow me tonight, I'll walk with you for life, and we can go anywhere you wanna go. Ooh, there's no place we can't go. Ooh, my home is when I'm alone with you. With you. With you. With you.
So Rose and I have actually pulled over for a minute because yeah, we said we were going to have a look at this route because it was supposed to be in a nice scenic route. It's known as the Mendip Hills, basically. So it's this B3135 winds its way through the Mendip Hills. I did not know it was going to be anything like this. I mean, like, this is the section you'll have seen in the video that you've just seen, or some of it, that the winding we were doing for the hills. But look at these cliffs. I mean, it is stunning. I really was not expecting this at all. This might be the highlight of my weekend this weekend. I mean, this is just beautiful. And as you can hear, very popular with the bikers. It's like something prehistoric. Well, it is prehistoric, but you know what I mean. It's like out of a prehistoric movie. Oh, just spectacular. I really want to get up there. I want to have a look down there. Wow. And on a day like today, it's like 28, 29 degrees now. Not a bad day at all. This is one to remember in the calendar. So if any of you thinking of trying exactly what we did, which was to hit the road as soon as you purchase your van without any conversion to it, and play it day by day, and convert it day by day as you can, there are some definite benefits to doing it. There are some definite drawbacks to doing it. Obviously we don't have most of the creature comforts at the moment that Serenity will have when she's finished being converted. Running water being one of those things. So you do have to get used to washing your stuff either in freezing cold water in a bucket or in some random strangers' campsite washing facilities. Oh, there's an issue with either that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it being done so that we do have some of the creature comforts that we will have. Power, water, heating, cooling. But it's also a lot of fun doing it. Now in terms of benefit, there are quite a few good things out of trying it like this. So we are getting to experiment quite a few ways before we just, we make any decisions set in stone or we build anything permanent. Even things like eating. Obviously we're going to have a kitchen inside the van, but on days like this when it's lovely and warm, or if it's clear and dry, you may not want to cook in the van. So there is going to be some times when you want to cook outdoors. But how's that setup going to be? Is it just going to be all break down and build up items that you can take outside, or something that adds on to it, maybe things onto the back doors or whatever? Quite a few different options and quite a few ideas, as well as things like we've been experimenting at the moment, like the bed. Now this is our first time out with the bed now being lowered. It's only 500mm compared to being a metre high before. Absolute game changer. Not only is it easy to get in and out of the bed, you can sit up properly, you've got the room above it. We don't need the amount of storage space that we originally suggested we might need, and it just gives us so much space back, and it just opens up the van as well. It feels so much more roomy. It's just incredible. I know there's still the kitchen units and stuff to go in, and the shower and everything, so the van is going to fill up, but already the room that it fills inside the van, now that the bed's lowered and out of the way, I don't think I showed you yet. Now, excuse the makeshift building, but obviously that is the bed space now. Let me go in and show you. I hope you can see okay. It is a bit dark in here. So, obviously our bed was up here before. We've also found, being as I haven't covered it all yet, that the insulation that it's glued on with is very susceptible to coming off in the heat. So I'm either going to change that or not worry too much when I got it boarded up. I would have liked it stuck to the surface. Anyway, it's something else I've learnt and need to consider that I wouldn't have known if I'd have just stuck it up and boarded it up and done. But anyway, yeah, there's just so much more room inside the van here. We were in it recently. Now I did have a roll of carpet down this side, but because the bed was up here as well, so this whole space just seemed void now. There was no room. There was a bed up here, there was a space underneath that we weren't really doing anything with. And honestly, if you look, I mean, I've got one big storage box under there at the moment. This will eventually, when it's the final build, that will be walled off at the bottom half there, but there will be a door in the middle of it so we can access from both sides. But there's loads of room. Honestly, there's loads of room for storage under here. Yes, I couldn't get something tall in there, maybe like a bike, but then actually I could still lay them down. Wouldn't be an issue. It's high enough to fit any of the electrical and power appliances that I want in there. So yeah, it's just so much more roomy. So yeah, I definitely think for us in our situation, not being able to just afford to build it all outright straight away, the fact that we are doing it bit by bit and we can experiment and try things, we are learning lots, and we're learning things that we didn't even know were questions, and we're finding answers to them. So yeah, anybody is thinking about doing it on the go, I would give it a go. It's not easy, and obviously you have to keep putting things up and putting things down if you want to use it constantly while converting. But yeah, it's a good way of finding out exactly what you do want and what you don't really need. How much time do you think you're going to spend in your van using certain items? Like the shower is something that we've been mulling around for a while now. Now Rose understandably does want to be able to have a private shower, so we were talking about obviously having a full length fixed shower. And I was thinking of having something on the back door, so you can open the back door and use that as an outdoor shower space as well, because that just might be really nice when we're on the road and in warm countries. But obviously a full-length shower, which is actually going to be this side here, is going to take up a lot of room. And at the end of the day, it will have a toilet in it, so it will be for toileting and shower, which is a very small time of the day. So then we were like, well, do we want full length? We have seen these other creators that have built several vans now and actually use a half shower now. So you like sit on the seat like you would on a toilet here. So you just sit and you get into it and shower, and you're sort of visible from here. So you have a door that you shut, but it's basically it's like a small bath where the shower you can take down or have up and shower yourself in it. The upside to that is all the space up here now becomes usable storage space or working space or just open space, and the top could then convert to where you put the lid down and you've now got another work surface. The downside is neither Rose or I would have an issue with showering while the other one's in there, but regards showering with a full length one, I was going to put an extractor fan in the ceiling to draw the damp out, because you don't want it in the van. Well, it's kind of pointless with a half shower. I mean, it would take some out, but it's just going to disperse into the van. And again, as I said, we wouldn't have an issue showering or peeing, to be honest. But yeah, I kind of draw the line at either of us having to do a number two while the other one's in the van. Well, visible while the other one's in the van. It's each to their own. Some don't have an issue with it. Rose and I have just never done it, and I don't think we'd ever like to. So that's a definite downside to it. But it depends on what you're happy with. So yeah, but these are all things that we're asking and learning on the way. And I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. I'm just looking forward to getting these next couple of trips out of the way, because when they're done, then I'm going to be putting the final panels, because I've been reusing the boards for now that came with the van, and they were very much a mix and match and hodgepodge of panels. But it's just being able to put them back up so I can put the bed up and keep the insulation safe behind while we've been using the van. But very soon I'll be putting up the final panels, then I'll be putting the membrane on those, putting the ceiling up, and obviously putting all the wiring through first as well, and then we can get on to carpeting the walls, which I think is the way we're going to go, and then we start building. Then really the fun starts, and we can start seeing the van start to transform then into something we can live on the road in. Anyway, back to cooking. So yeah, we will obviously cook in the van when there's a kitchen in there, but sometimes we'll want to cook outside when it's like this. So yeah, do we want something on the back where you can open up a door and you maybe have a grill or barbecue that comes out onto it? Maybe nothing at all, or something that is just can be used in the van and it's modular and comes outside, or do we just want separate furniture? I don't know. Anybody's got any ideas or suggestions? Comments, guys, please. Good morning, all. Another beautiful morning. Last day of this little mini adventure. So this morning we are heading back to the Cheddar Gorge. We're actually going to the Cheddar Gorge caves, famous prehistoric caves actually formed around 500,000 years ago. One of the main things we're interested in going to see and learning about is the remains of the oldest full human skeleton found in England, which is dated to be around 9,000 years old. So yeah, quite an interesting archaeological location. So yeah, come and join us for this trip around Cheddar Gorge Caves. We'll see you soon, guys. So we're here just inside the entrance of Gough's cave, and the pictures I'm about to show you now are of the replica of Cheddar Man that was found here in 1903. Carbon dating actually dates his body back 10,000 years, and Cheddar Man is believed to have been in his 20s when he died. And surprisingly, yeah, it's literally just right in the entrance of the cave. There's lots to explore on the tour. It's around an hour in length, depending on how much you want to explore. So yeah, we'll move on from Cheddar Man and have a look. I'll see you soon, guys. So this point here, very early on into the cave, nobody had actually passed this point until Gough went past this in 1903. This water here actually used to be collected by an old lady and basically sold on as Cheddar healing water. And it wasn't until after her death that Gough continued further into the cave and explored. But I can see why back in 1903 why this water in this natural structure carried such weight and mystery and myth. So this area of the cave is known as the Dark Cave, and it stays at a constant 11 degrees, is it, Rose?
Yeah.
I believe 11 degrees, and it is prone to flooding.
And it's the lowest part of the cave wall we go through.
Oh, and apparently it's the lowest part of the cave wall we go through, hence why it floods. Oh wow.
So I think this is called the chimney, but the audio's not available at the moment.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, now that goes up a long way. Wow.
Yeah, and this is definitely the chimney.
See, stalactites and stalagmites are made up of calcium deposits, and it can take 1,000 years just to grow by a single inch. You're not recording me, recording you. This area behind me here, if you can see it, is called the Rift. It's actually created by acid in the water, carving through the rock. So these are going to be
Stalactites and stalagmites. It's called column because it's joined together.
Oh, that's where stalactites and stalagmites have joined?
Yeah, column.
Ah, okay.
Look how amazing is that?
Now, another interesting feature that you may see behind me is columns effects, which are from stalactites and stalagmites. Once they converge in the middle, you get this column formation. But as I previously said, you know, this takes 1,000 years to grow by an inch, so that's just incredible. How many thousands of years just to create that. So these, if you can see, are the drilled blasting holes. And this behind me actually is a completely man-made cave. That's insane. This section here actually named St Paul's Cathedral, I believe.
Yes, after the spinning gallery up the top there.
Ah.
It's really nice to sing in. A bit quiet than last week.
Oh really?
Singing, yeah.
Yeah, I bet the acoustics are amazing.
Yeah. So they are slightly weird. Because the formations are not necessarily in their original position.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
Ah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but they had to crawl up through the back of this, get in here, and the floor was up here.
Right, so
Oh,
this
wow.
is where they crawled in to get to here.
Yeah.
Right, because I was trying to work that out because it said to the right, and I was like, depends which way you
Yeah,
stand.
some people call the view through there Aladdin's Cave.
Ah, okay.
That's also the route for the divers to get into
Right.
the river.
Because I was hearing about the divers as well, and I was like, I don't see it, but that's
Yeah, so they climb over the top of this part of it and down for 70 feet right at the far end. And that is the only way into the river.
Right, okay, thank you for clearing that up. I was a little confused. So they crawled in through here to discover this, but it was full of rubble and boulders, so they had to reconstruct it, which is why things are not necessarily in the place that they originally were, so it looks a little bit...
So they originally crawled through this area here, what to get to that main entrance there?
Yeah.
Oh.
And some people call that bit underneath Aladdin's.
Oh, okay.
All this.
Yeah.
And it was 2 years between finding St Paul's and finding this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't sort of nice and open like that. That rock came down to about that height, and it was clogged at the bottom. So they removed the loose material to find this, and then opened up the doorway with a bit of blasting.
Oh.
What a discovery.
Yeah.
2 years to get from there to here.
Yeah, 8 years from the start of the digging before they reached this point.
Wow.
And of course, they were still using pretty primitive lighting, candles, miners' lamps.
Oh,
So
yeah,
their
of course.
view of it was really restricted.
Yeah.
130 years from this end. The divers have gone on about another half a mile from here, but we reckon there's probably 99% or more of the system still to find. We know the edges. We know where the edges are.
Yeah.
Because we can put radioactive dyes into the water and trace them into the river.
Yeah, sure.
So the little streams that disappear on the top of Mendip into the scallop holes, they do eventually form the river,
Yeah.
which is below us.
But maybe only...
And that's kind of snaking underneath the visitor caves.
Yeah.
It crosses from side to side in a couple of places.
Yeah.
So it starts where you come in through the gate and the skeleton's to your left.
Yeah.
The river is actually underneath the rocks to your right.
Oh.
That way.
Oh, okay.
And about 20 feet below you.
Yeah.
Here it's about 70 feet.
Right, yeah.
Down to the water.
But only 1% discovered so far.
If that.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
It's a big system.
Yeah.
There are still occasional discoveries. There was a big one about 13 years ago. Huge series of chambers.
Yeah.
They got progressively bigger, and the biggest one is roughly the volume of 3 cathedrals. And it's about a mile that way through the rocks.
Wow.
But you can only get to it through a very difficult, tiny squeeze of a cave right at the top of Mendip.
Two really good divers have discovered most of what's been discovered.
Rob Palmer and Rich
stand down,
Stevenson
take a picture.
led
Good,
the
good.
teams here. Rob Palmer's sadly no longer with us, but I think Rich Stevenson's still alive. Rob Palmer died about 20 years ago. They're a bit prone to strokes
Yeah.
and heart attacks.
Diving.
Yeah, the amount of stress that they put their bodies through takes a toll.
I would imagine it's quite the pressure. You know, like when you go deep sea.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I mean, 80 metres of water means quite a long time decompressing coming out. So there were divers actually ferrying tanks down to Martin as he was decompressing.
Wow.
Because he'd used up pretty much everything. Because he sat at the bottom of that 80-metre dive, just trying to scoop out silt with his hand. And he's wearing a dry suit with a tank. The main tank was about that round, because it was a special kind of mix. About that round and about that tall. And then he had a normal air tank with him as well for the decompression. But it wasn't quite enough to get him all the way back up, so they take stuff down. So it's a bit like mountaineering. You've got to have base camps, build up your supplies.
That would feel like a very long 80 metres in that situation, I can imagine.
Although the river is constantly there and can do a bit of cutting, it's only really when it gets its superpowers. And that's during the melt phase from each glaciation. So there've been, over the last 2.5 million years, there've been over 60 occasions where the ice and the snow kind of come back over the land. The later ones, of course, were driving the people and the animals out, and they came back after. But each time, during the melting, at the end of that can last hundreds of years. That's when the hill is full of churning water.
And that's when
It's under pressure. And all of these little scallops, they're the result of small whirlpools forming, and that's just friction. So as the water kind of passes by the rock, the friction slows it, and that starts a whirlpool.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
The bigger the hollow, the slower the whirlpool.
Right. So if you can see behind me the column here that's formed from the joining of stalactites and stalagmites, and actually it's believed that there's multiple within inside this, and they've developed over it and wrapped around it and filled it in. There is a theory that some people believe that this may be where Tolkien got the idea for the White Tree of Gondor from. Whether that's fact or not, we don't know. But Tolkien did spend his honeymoon here. And looking at it myself, and being a very big fan of the books and the movies myself, I can certainly see where the theory comes from. Just an incredible formation, an incredible place. So those 3 coins there are actually replacement coins for the ones originally put in there by Gough. But this was an alarm system basically they used, and they placed coins into the cracks, into the ceiling and the rock formations around them. And if there was any shift in movement in the rock and the limestone, then the coins would fall out, and it was basically an alarm system for them that there was going to be a cave-in and they needed to get out quick. Quite ingenious, really.
These ice ages, with their intense periods of freezing and flooding, also helped shape the subterranean wonders beneath the gorge. These caves that have captured the imagination of visitors for over a century. As we explore further, we'll see how the power of water...
Lighting changed to something wrong. Really?
Stone. You can see erosion patterns on the walls. Scalloped shapes like beaten metal, and lines left as the water gradually sank deeper underground.
Yeah, there are huge curtains.
Stalactites and stalagmites. If you like an easy way to remember which is which, stalactites hold roots in cement, and stalagmites grow with all their might.
Nice. That's tight. This way?
As we continue to the next period, you'll find something special at the bottom of each stone and you need it. Just a heads up, everyone, we've reached the halfway mark of our journey. If anyone wants to head out early, this is where to exit. But I hope you'll stay with us. I'm excited to guide you further into our adventure.
You're not going to believe it, guys. Found another Jacob's ladder, but not today. We'll save that for another day. But it is another cliff. It is another steep staircase climb and a cliff top walk along the top of Cheddar Gorge.
What is it?
Yeah. Alright then guys, that's just about it for this trip. Final note I will say is that when we arrived at Cheddar Gorge Caves and found the entrance fee to be £25 a head for the full day, I was a little sceptical. It was a bit expensive. However, having done the tour through the main Gough's cave, and we've just done the Cox Cave, isn't it? What do they call that? Yeo's Journey of Light, which is an exhibition display, a digital and audio display through another cave system that tells you a bit about it and about its history and nature and formation. Alongside that, with the walk up Jacob's ladder to the watchtower, and then there's like a 2.5 hours cliff top walk along the top, a circular route which unfortunately Rose and I ain't going to get a chance to do today because we're just running out of time, and and my right knee has decided to play up. But yeah, but all of that combined, yeah, I have to say, I think it was 50 quid for the two of us. I think it was 50 quid well spent. Yeah. And trust me, I don't like spending money, but yeah, I would say that was definitely well worth it. So anyway, that is it for today. That is it for this road trip. I'll leave the popular tourist spots to the tourists. We're going to get off and get back on the road and get home. I hope you enjoyed this trip, and I hope you enjoyed the videos. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. Much love, everybody, and as always, have a beautiful day.